Acting.
I know. Let's just lock it up.
Oh, heck yeah.
That's good.
I moved all the coffee here.
Love it.
You don't understand, I have to schlep that from my house to here, see? And it's Eagle's credit card.
All right. Good morning, everybody.
That's not the issue.
Okay, what page?
We are in the Mishnah. Speaking of you guys, you calling in? I don't know. Let's see. I guess not. All right. Let's see. No. All right.
Oh, value.
So you got the Mishnah. Nofel Habayis.
What page?
Kufran Zion 157.
Oh, I see.
Mishnah says.
Oh, Ahmed Aleph?
Amud Aleph. Yeah, there's a Mishnah maybe around 9 lines on the top.
Okay, got it.
It's all there.
Mishnah says. Nafal abayis alav v'al aviv. So if a house fell upon a person and his father, so there's Bob Senior. Actually, there's it was a we'll say grandfather, son, and grandsons. Let's stick to that, right? So the case was the father and the grandfather were both in were in a building, and it fell upon them. Oh, I love the Amarishav or on him and somebody else who he would inherit. Now, now on the son, right? We said this is a grandfather, or did I say grandfather, father? I mean, it was similar way. Yaakov, and then there was Yaakov, then there was Ruvain. Right, Yaakov and Ruvain, right? Now, Ruvain has a couple of kids. Now, what happened? The house fell on Yaakov and Ruvain. And Ruvain had some debts, let's say he had a ksu for his wife, or balchayf, or he had written documents. Now, so those who go ahead and inherit the father, let's say Ruvain's kids, they say, haben meis rishon, right? Our father never inherited those, or let's say Ruvain's brothers, Shimon and Levi, they'll say the father, right? Ruvain never inherited the stuff because Ruvain died first. Okay, Ruvain died first, and therefore, right? Oh, thank you. And therefore, any of Ruvain's obligations were not upon the assets of his very wealthy father Yaakov. Okay, in other words. If Ruvain would inherit, let's say Yaakov in this case was a billionaire, right? And then
who had the debts and everything?
So let's say Yaakov was a billionaire.
Yeah, okay.
Ruvain was his poor son.
Okay.
Poor son. Ruvain had debts. Okay. So the people who are holding the debt, whether it's the Ksuba, the Isha, or the Baal Chayiv, they say, you know what happened? The grandfather, Yaakov, died first. Then for 6 minutes, right, while the building was still falling down, whatever it was, Ruvain became a millionaire by inheriting his father, and then he died. So all of his assets, we have a lien upon it. So Isha can go against his estate.
Wow.
But if Ruvain died before Yaakov, then his estate never received any of the assets from Yaakov if Ruvain died first, right? Because he wouldn't inherit it.
Or they have a video of it.
So each one, even though they don't have proof, they say technically this happened. So what happens? So Yarshe Avim have been made rishon. So the Yarshe of the Av says no, the son died first, and therefore, right? Ben meis rishon. And only afterwards the father died. So therefore, those debts can't be collected. The father died first. Then the son died. So they said in this case, now, despite the fact that yes, you have the muchzak here, however, a shtar, according to Beis Shammai, excuse me, the shtar ha'imid l'gavas dummy. Right, since it was a written shtar, it was as if it was already collected. As if it was already collected, it's like he's a muchzak. So therefore, the debtors are also muchzak upon the land. So therefore, they're both muchzakim. Therefore, yachloiku. Beis Hillel the chasim bechas katzam. Beis Hillel says no. The nechasim are, unless you can go ahead and prove that the son inherited the father. In other words, the grandfather Yaakov died first, and then Ruvain died afterwards. But Ruvain's estate inherited. So then, then they'll be able to collect. If
Where
you
are
can't
you
prove
holding?
it, then they can deflect you by saying,
Where are you
"Good morning,
holding?
Yigal. How are you? We just did the
Okay.
Mishnah on Kuf Nud Zayin Amud Aleph."
All right, thank
Want a
you.
coffee?
Baruch atah Adonai Melech HaMashiach HaMevorach.
Amen.
Ask if he's coming.
Zog the Gemara. Yigal, you coming or no? No,
I'm
he's
I'm
not.
out of town.
You're out of town. Okay, the coffee maker wanted to know if you're coming. He wanted to know. All right, very good. All right, very good. So Tran Hasam, Hamalvis Chaveru B'Shtar. So one who goes ahead and he lends his friend money with a document. So I go ahead and I borrow money from Avrami. Hamalvis, I lend money to Avrami. And there's a star. So then the Avrami has a star. It's recorded, and then he buys, he buys and sells lands in the future. So let's say he had land when I lent him the money, he had a nice parcel, then he sold it after the loan, he sold it to Eddie, so I can go ahead and collect the land from Eddie, because at the time of the loan, it was recorded star that I borrowed money, and Eddie should have known better, right? Knowing that I have, a star on his estate, so therefore I can go over because of Shabbatim. Edim, right? So I'm out of the star, go over Edim. But let's say I only lent money to Avrami with witnesses, but not in a recorded star. Therefore, Eddie really would have no way of finding out. When I go ahead and collect the loan, I can't go ahead and collect from properties that Avrami has since sold because it wasn't in a star. I can only go ahead and collect what assets he has. So Shmuel has a question. What about this case? Diikni v'kana mahu. Let's say Avrami says, okay, I'm going to borrow money from you, okay, and you'll be able to go ahead and collect not just from my estate right now, but even things in the future that I'm going to go ahead and buy, you'll be able to go ahead and collect those things, even though I don't own it right now. So Mahu, what do we see in this case? So Aliba, the Rabbi Meir, Damar Adam, Machne, Davar Shalai, according to the opinion of Rabbi Meir, who holds that a person can acquire something that doesn't exist yet, and therefore I could acquire, in this case, a lien on items, on assets that Avram will get in the future. That's not a question. According to Rameir, if Avrami says things in the future you'll be able to collect that I acquire in the future, you'll be able to collect from. So that's considered to be the makna davar shalai, and that, according to Rameir, that works. Rather, this question is pointed to Ali, but the Rabbanan, according to the Rabbanan, the Amri, who say that a person cannot go ahead and acquire something not in existence yet, and therefore that the lien for the loan can that be placed on future items that he'll go ahead and acquire. So I'm Rav Yosef,
Like a future inheritance.
right? Future inheritance or a future purchase, right, of land. So I'm Rav Yosef. So Tashba, come and listen. So we have a case like this. Let's say we're picking up Avrami today. So let's say I lend money to Avrami. Okay, I lend money to Avrami. So Avrami owes me $1,000, and then I go ahead and I'm trying to get my my money back. And Avrami says, "I paid you," and I says, "No, you didn't." And then what happens? Then we find some sort of document, right? A sale document. I sold Avrami a parcel of land, and he paid me money. Now, you're right. I gave him, right, he got land of mine, right? And therefore I got money of his. Okay, he paid me, right, for land. I sold him land.
Okay.
Now,
This is aside from that.
This occurred afterwards, after the loan. So if he got land and I got money from him. Now, if he already owed me money, right, why wouldn't I use that money as a credit? Right? I paid him $1,500. I should say, no, I'll only take $1,000 off because you already owe me $1,000, right? So why would I charge you money if I could just say, hey, you already owe me money, right? So it's like I paid you that money, right? So I paid you that money already. So if the guy is smart, what's he going to do, right? So I will go ahead and I'll make sure I sell Avrami land. So therefore, Avrami has land. So why will I take money? I'll sell it to him. Why? Because he wouldn't give me money otherwise for loan. I'll say I don't have. Oh, but I'll buy land off you, Yoel. Okay, sure. So I give him the land, knowing that if he defaults in loan, all of a sudden he has land for me to go ahead and collect from. Right? He'll be able to collect. I'll be able to go ahead and collect from the land because now he has land. Before he didn't. He just had movable objects, which I couldn't collect from. But now he has nechasim sheish lemachrayus. So what do we see in this case? So you see over there that even if there's a loan and there's a future assets, you could go ahead and put a lien on it. That's why, because the Mishnah over here says, if I was smart, I would give him land in order to be able to collect it in the future. So Amrle Rafa says, "Mine, come on,
You would give him the land, or you?
Well, no, I would sell him land. In other words, why would I sell something to somebody, right, who already owes me money, right? Now, when I sell to them, right, they have to go ahead and give me money. But why would I take new monies? You already owe me money. Pay me the old money before I start selling you stuff, right? You're not going to pay me back. Why would I sell you something new, right? If I'm selling you land and you already owe me $1,000, right? So give me the money. Why would I sell you? Why would I do more business with you if you already owe me the money, right? So
Same thing with, well, if you have a piece of land that is worth $1,000,000.
right.
Okay, and you give it back, sell it to him so that you can collect million. Plus
Plus
whatever he owes you, you're only gonna get back the land that's worth $1,000,000. So you're still out the $1,000, doesn't make any sense.
in this case, no, but he paid for it. It shows that he paid on that kind. He paid for the land. You're getting that money, right? So you're getting that money now. All of a sudden, he has assets. I can go ahead and collect $1,000 from, right? But why would I go ahead and start doing business with him and have him pay me more money if you already owe me money in the first place, right? Why would the guy do business with a guy who already owes him money?
But I got the point now, but then the question becomes, how can you put the lien on something that it doesn't have?
Because he didn't have it yet.
Yeah.
So we're trying to prove from this case. Oh, this is the proof that one could go ahead. That's exactly the point of the Gemara. One could go ahead and basically at the time of loan, he didn't own it. He only got it in the future. And the Gemara says like a wise idea to do it because now the guy has assets I can go ahead and use as for the loan. So the Gemara says, "Minei, you're talking about future assets that you want to go ahead and put a lien on that originally came from you." Right, it's from this guy, right? Minei kamar, I feel a right? From if it came from him, even if it was clothing, it wasn't just be land; it would be anything. You can buy a lawn. The akni kana umachar, the akni kana of a harish. We're talking about a different case, right? I want to take Avrami out of it. We're talking about a case of basically a guy who borrowed money from me, and he said, "Hey, Yoel, I'm going to go ahead and whatever I get in the future, right? I'm going to go ahead and put a lien on." And then this guy went ahead, we'll call him Bob, right? So he goes ahead and he buys land. So he owes land subsequent to the loan. The loan took place, I lent the money on January 1st. He buys land on January 31st, and then he sells it to somebody else. So since he acquired this land afterwards and he sold it, now he doesn't own it right now because he sold it, but since he acquired it afterwards, do I have a lien on it, right? At some point he owned it, right? And then before he sold it, or he acquired stuff and then he died and he gave it to his Yarship, right? So can I go ahead and say, hey, my loan came on January 1st. I know you bought it on January 30th and then you later died in February and the sons got it, but I want to collect it from the sons because it came from your father and your father owed me money since January 1st. So so Amar Rav Chana says, let's look at our Mishnah. So let's say a house fell on a person and his father, or on him and somebody else he would have inherited. And let's say he had either a ksuba, the younger one, the one who was inheriting, had let's say a ksuba to pay off his wife that he owed afterwards, or Balchayv. Yarsha. Let's say there was the Balchav of the Yarsha of the father. So excuse me. Haisalab Sosisha Balchav. So Yarsha Av Imrim. So the Yarsha of the father, they say, oh no. Haben Meis Rishon, the son died first, he never inherited. Meis Av. Ubali Chayvais, and the one who are owed money, I mean they say, Ha'av Meis Rishon, right? the father, right, the old father died first. Therefore, the one who owes us the money inherited that first. Now, this is
Right.
clearly a case of they were creditors, they were owed money before,
Right.
and then subsequently, right, when the building fell, the guy inherited money for 10 minutes before he died, right? But he inherited afterwards, and you see that it's a claim where they can collect the money. So you see an asset that comes afterwards could be liened by previous debt. Now, if you would think that a case of when a guy's borrowing money, he says, okay, even things that I'll acquire and sell, you can still go ahead and put a lien on it, or things that I go ahead and inherit and bequeath. And that does not work. So even in the case of the father died first, this is only something that he subsequently acquired after the loan. It shouldn't work at all. So in other words, it must be for a mission that it does work, right? Samalu Rav Nachman.
I'm not sure why it makes a difference, because either way, there's a lien on the estate for the amount of the debt,
Right.
okay?
But
Yeah.
the question is, what was in the estate? In other words, if the guy died first, then he didn't inherit anything.
Oh, so he would not have had any.
It would be in his estate,
to
right?
pay the
Right,
debt.
and the other people are arguing, no. You inherited the rich father, right? The billionaire for 4 minutes. Therefore, it's considered to be in your estate because the grandfather died first. Therefore, you got the millions, and then you died. So, but now that was your estate. So, therefore, we can go ahead and collect from your estate.
Yo, if the grandfather died first, the kids of that person either way would have been your stepmothers.
So then we'll go to the other brothers. And then that guy's estate wouldn't have had it. Right. I don't think that's the case of where you inherit in the ground. Right. I mean, I was thinking that question.
No,
But yeah.
I mean,
So we say,
good job.
I'm not going to Zira.
Got it.
So he says, yeah, still got it. So Rav Nachman Zira. So he said no. So Rav Nachman Zira, he says, our friend explained Tirgva mitzvah al yisayim for a chayvas aviyan. So even you're right. Even if it's the case of where he did inherit it, it still is a mitzvah, right? To go ahead. They're saying, okay, in economic, technically, he could have put a lien on it, but we want to go, but you really should go ahead and pay your father's chayvas.
Mitzvah or is it a
So we're saying now, midoraisa, you don't have to go ahead and do it, but it's a mitzvah, the assignment to go ahead and pay the father, so the father doesn't have a bad name. So it's a mitzvah on that, even though the guy can't forcefully collect,
Right.
that's what they're saying to be able to collect from. There is what to pay for, and they're going to pay it. Even though they didn't have to go to Ravashi, so milva pehu. This is considered to be a milva pehu for Rav Shmuel. Milva pehu. You can't go ahead and collect from the yarshim. So you can't go ahead and collect from the yarshim in this case, right? Even if you want to go, there's no mitzvah for the on the yarshim to go ahead and pay this debt. So that can't be the case. So Allah money is how can you explain our Mishnah where it pashut that it works, that even if the guy would have inherited for 2 minutes, now his estate owns it, but it came after the loan, nevertheless it's still a mortgage right to that loan. So Hamani Rameir, this must be opinion of Rameir, as you saw earlier. Adam So therefore, he could be making Davar Shalom. So therefore, even though didn't get his father's inheritance till way after the loan or the debt, or the debt, or when he got married to the woman, nevertheless, it was Rameir who says it does work, and even future things that you inherit or that you acquire would be mortgaged to your outstanding loans. And I'm Rabbi Yaakov ben Arab Kud Mishmei the Ravina Tashma. Come listen, let's try and bring another proof. Shtari Chayiv Hamukdamin Psulim. So a person has a predated shtar. That does not work, right? It's predated. Why? Because then people who bought stuff before the actual loan, they could lose their land because the date in the shtar. But what on Hamuachrin? But let's say it was afterwards. So let's say afterwards, let's say the loan took place on the 1st, and the shtar on the 1st of January, and the shtar was April, right? So April says, so according to the document, I can only collect assets that were in the case from that the guy owned from before April, right? So therefore, right, but really it's not before April. It should be even things that you had in February and March. Those are also included, but it's not listed. So it was bad for the guy who wrote the shtar, but nevertheless, it works. It doesn't steal from anybody. It actually protects a couple extra people. So that's Sharon. Now, however, let's think of the concept of Sharu Charig. We're talking about few things that will be collected in the future. And if you think that if the guy says, okay, things that I get in the future would be acquired to it. So why would these delayed the ones with the later dates on the time of the loan, why would they be kosher? Right? These are things that came in the future that should not be covered. So once again, my answer is how many? Whose opinion is this? This is right. Meir he damar adam makna davar shelo b'elam. This is a person who is considered to be. You can acquire things that he is not yet. You can put a lien on something that's not yet in existence. And Amarav Misharshim Mishmei the Rav Toshma, come listen. The Sheva Karkal. So now let's say this case. Let's say I go ahead and I buy from Meir land, and I take the land, and I go ahead and I improve the land. I plow it and whatever. Now, all of a sudden, it turns out Meir owed money to Avrami, and that was before the land. So Avrami is able to go ahead and seize the land from me. So now I get my money back, right? Meir owes me money. In addition, but what about all the plowing I did? The Sheva Karkos. So what happens in that case? So the Sheva Karkos case. That's so a person sells a field to his friend. So he sold to me, and then I improved it. And in our case, Avrami comes, the Tarfa, and he collects the land. Now I say, okay, I'm out the $1,000 I paid for the land, and also the $200 I paid for plowing. Is a Karen. So the principal from Meir who sold me land for $1,000. That's mechas mishubadim. That's anything that he has in his estate, or even if he had in the estate from the time of the sale that he sold to someone else, I can go ahead and collect my $1,000 from that. That's a shevach with the $200. Only things that were not mortgaged, i.e., not sold to anybody else. Only things that the assets that Meir own. Now, if you think that things where a person says, okay, even things in the future that I acquire and sell, you can go ahead and collect from, or things that I acquire and bequeath, that doesn't work. So my shivcha, why would I be able to go ahead and collect anything for the shevach? In other words, in this case, the shevach did not occur when that only came later on, right? So that only came later on. It was not the time of the loan. So in other words, if that came later on, that shouldn't be collectible in the future, right? Those are things that came subsequent to the debt, and therefore that should not be leveraged. He should only be responsible for the principal, but nothing in the future. Nothing should be mortgaged to that. So my answer is no. Money, Rabbi Meir. This is the opinion of Rabbi Meir. The Amar Adam makna davar shelo b'elam. A person could be makna something that does not exist. But wait. So okay, if you say that a person can't go ahead and for a debt right now, say, okay, you can go ahead and get lien on things, even if I get in the future and sell it, right? You can go ahead and collect it. So that doesn't work. However, if you go ahead and do say that it does work, so what about this case, right? I go ahead and I borrow money from Mark, and I say, okay, you go ahead and be able to collect, for me, even things I get in the future. Then I go ahead and I borrow money from Randy, also $100, right? And it says, okay, if I acquire things, and then even if I sell, you can go ahead and collect from that land. Anything comes to my estate after the loan. So Mark was on January 1st, Randy was January 10th, and later on, I go ahead and I buy, so then I go ahead and acquire something. Then I acquire something in that case. Mahu. So do we say l'kama mishtave or l'basa mishtave? Right now, in this case, so who has the first lien? Is it Mark, right, whose debt came first, or is it Randy? Because perhaps you can say that when I told Randy, basically that anything that I'll get in the future, you'll go ahead and be able to collect from that. So that basically is giving precedence over Mark's loan and saying you collect first. So Mao, the Kama Mishtabit or the Basa Mishtabit. Is it the first guy, the second guy? Some Rav Nachman. So Hamil say by this question was asked the Shach something son of there. Rishon Kana. No, the first person, he was there first, so therefore it goes in order. He has the first lead. And Rav Huna Amar Yachloko. It says no, they both do it together. Since I acquired the items after both of their loans. So technically, they both have equal rights to it. There's not one first or one second. They have the same rights. And Amar Avina,
But they,
they can go ahead and collect from that person. In other words, if there's only a amount that can't go ahead and seize enough for both of them, so then they divide whatever they can get. Right.
the asset which wasn't in his possession.
Correct.
At the time of the
Right.
loan.
Does not go in order, but
Is-
since
is
they were both there,
still
they divide.
collectible.
It is, yes, correct. We're going on that side. If it is collectible, but the question is who comes first. So we say they come together. And Amar Ravina says Ravina Madur come with the Rav Ashi. When Rav Ashi the first time around Shas when he was teaching it, Amar Lan Rishon Kani, he said the first person. However, Madur Basra, but the one afterwards, to Rav Ashi, Amar Lan Yachloki, he said Yachloki. The halach is they should divide. Gemara says, wait. Meisvei, let's go just analyze one thing for that last question. So the Sheva Karkos, we said in the case of there when a person buys something, he improves the land, and all of a sudden that land is taken away from him and he wants his Shevach back. So who does he go ahead and collect? So the Shevach is everything is taken away, all of the Shevach. Now, Ketzad, so a person sold his field to his friend and he improved it. The Balchov came of the seller of Tarfa and removed it. A Karen, when he goes out and collects, he collects the Karen, even on anything that from the seller, even stuff that he sold, that's the Shevach, but however the Shevach only from the Chazim B'nei. Now, if it's taka true. Now, wait, who here is owed money on the field? Now, you have the original creditor, right? And also the guy who made the improvements. He's also owed money. Now, but wait, we just said that Yachloku. So shouldn't over here, why should the guy who was owed money be able to take the field and all of the Shevach? Who says he has more of a right to the Shevach than the guy who actually did the claim of the improvements to the land? Maybe he is deserving of the Shevach, to keep the Shevach, right? The improvements. So why does the Baal Chayv go ahead and get the Shevach? He should get the Shevach just because he improved the land. V'misa chati Shevach mibayle. If it's Yachloku, then he should only really be able, when he sees it, he gets his land, and also half of the improvements he should really pay the other person. So my gova, indeed, what does it mean when he collects the Shevach? It means nami diktoni chati Shevach. It's only the half a Shevach. In other words, so really, let's say in case of it was $1,000 and the Shevach was $200. Okay, so in theory he takes the whole land, but the guy takes the whole land, which now we're 1,200 instead of 1,000, and gives him $100 for half the Shevach, and the other half Shevach he has a right to go ahead and collect from the B'nei Chayrin from the seller. All right, we'll stop here at the Mishnah. It's a good place to stop. Sunday, should we go 7 o'clock Sunday?
Yeah.
I'll go 7 o'clock Sunday. We'll call for 7 o'clock Sunday. And Mr. Shep will actually finish the parak on Sunday.